Things are quite interesting when it comes to South Korea. They have quite a voice and a lot of news coming this year. Normally, they stay chill and just do capitalism as if nothing is happening, but something is happening. Now, this story is not exactly my forte, but South Korea is now mad at US. That's a big deal. To me, one breakup leads to another kind of relationship strengthening. If South Korea is mad at US, then they have nowhere else to find friends but to kind of sacrifice a portion of their culture and potentially just the bad portion of their culture. I will explain what that means, but first, I welcome you to K-pop drama, boys. This drama is just as big as Deadmau5 drama of YouTubers abusing their powers on this platform, finding exploits, making the game not so fun for the rest of us. One of the most obvious exploits used to be like React videos. Or appearing very educated can also be an exploit. But Deadmau5 drama happened because it's time to expose these people. These people have overstayed their welcome and they're willing to actually expose themselves. With the most prominent figure basically losing his channel. Like, he fucking destroyed his own channel. I can no longer possibly click get videos. Wait, what? It's back? Was he able to, like, remove the videos tab or something? See, something was happening in between, like, most of the channel content just disappeared. That's a big deal. If you feel like you're the righteous person, you should keep content where it fucking belongs. You can only, like, reorganize it a little bit. But this is crazy. Alright? Alright, so he's back. It's still possible to come back. It's not a big deal to get a Deadmau5 drama dropped on you. I would say I like ordinary gaming even more than ever before because I genuinely appreciate his takes, his content, and whatever he's up to. Except drama. I don't think he knows how to deal with drama whatsoever. But his personal drama was absolute nonsense, basically. You can call yourself an engineer. Calling yourself an engineer is only wrong if you don't get paid for being an engineer. So it's not about fucking degree. Like, are people that stupid? Are people really that stupid? Is the degree that makes you a human being? No, it's the payment. People pay for your work. So you this is that one argument that would make me not a YouTube CEO because I don't get paid. That's about it, you know. I actually have to pay YouTube premium subscription, all that shit. But at the same time, I'm on a different side of the spectrum. I pay with so many videos, with so much effort, and I get nothing out of YouTube. So I'm gonna take this in exchange. You know, I'm gonna take the title in exchange. So that's the other side of the coin, basically. So how does K-pop drama relate with the Deadmau5 drama? Well, it's completely the opposite of what's going on. Unless you know what Mr. Beast's most viral video actually is. And then, you might be wondering what South Korea stands for actually. Because it starts to get wicked, doesn't it? Now, Mr. Beast can never possibly capture the soul of South Korea because we're talking about K-pop drama. Again, no YouTube channel actually is capable of achieving this like cultural enrichment and giving a fuck about K-pop. Yes, there are the dedicated channels for K-pop, but there's no YouTuber that is well known that has a face on this platform that gives a fuck about K-pop. There's no such thing. And it kind of blows my mind in a way. But then you think about it, like K-pop is more of a mainstream type of thing. Most YouTubers don't care about Taylor Swift anyways, right? Like, why should we care? Mainstream world is completely different from the YouTuber world, but still is worth looking at, and their drama is just as important. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I would say when it comes to culture, I would describe South Korea as extremely optimized. Why? They have lack of sleep. They don't make babies. They just make K-pop, bro. As if they have the ultimate work culture of all time. But now that they're losing ties with the US, this is kind of shaking some grounds. Like, this is quite serious. This could actually lead to a domino effect of much greater changes for this place. Unified Korea is also quite an interesting thing. It's like maybe it can reach like its final form. Can actually unite the good things, not the bad things, about their differences, right? That could be interesting. We don't know how much influence US actually had on South Korea, and right now this influence is falling apart. Like this could be a lot. And of course they look much greater, but something has to change. And you know, I think South Korea might actually take any opportunity to change the dynamic, the culture, just to make it more comfortable, where like people are making babies again, bro. Like, you know, I will soak in on some South Korean news. I'm not sure what I will find. If you watched previous episodes, you will notice that I talked about this like capitalism pyramid inversion of like it could change, flip upside down. I feel like South Korea has some kind of a mystery goal. Like it's working towards something. It cannot. The culture is so unsustainable, and it's so leaning towards capitalism. How do they brainwash their people to work this hard, to commit so hard? Like there's got to be an end mystery goal to what they're doing, as if like they're following a secret religion or something. Now, work is beautiful, and this is why often enough I make K-pop videos, right? You can check them out. This is a different channel that I have for influencers specifically. Hard work can be beautiful. And for me, like my life, I want things to change significantly. I want to have this breakthrough. So they could also be working towards something, towards some kind of breakthrough. And this is very interesting. It definitely puts me into this mystery search. The K-pop drama is to dig into the mystery and see if I can actually crack it. I have a hard time understanding if this story actually holds any significance, if suicides in South Korea hold significance, but it is a part of a story, you know? Did Ray actually cover this? That would be crazy. Oh my god. That is awesome.
So this woman...
Alright guys, you should get goosebumps like I do, because this is so weird. He's covering the story. I like Ray William Johnson. This guy is so cool. Maybe one day I will be able to post a video that says South Koreans mystery solved or something. That would be crazy. I so far have a 4th episode right now. Okay.
Kata starts getting super famous in this world. And 8 more years pass, and it's now 2016. And the members of Kata, their contracts expire, and the group of...
That's crazy.
eventually movies and on TV. I mean, you get it. She's still doing extremely well. Being watched and judged and bullied by the fans and by the public. They microanalyze her every move, and they hold her to an impossibly high,
See, that's the religion I'm talking about. This is very interesting.
made of it to the internet. Basically, Guhara has a sex tape she allegedly didn't know about. And so her fans find out about the tape's existence. And so, kaboom! Specifically the women. Them having a boyfriend is a big deal, much less them having sexual contact with a man.
You know what? That is a religion. That is a very interesting thing. Everything seems to be connected in that sense. So yeah, Guhara's death is quite a flag of what's going on, of this mystery. And this is the thing that attracted me in the first place. What is going on over there?
Worse, her best friend, who's also a K-pop singer, suddenly unalives herself. Good night. And then Guhara, unfortunately, unalives. Same mom who was never in her life is about to get millions of dollars. Haween. But Haween keeps fighting to get the law changed. And eventually, in 2024, the Korean government finally passes a new law stating that deadbeat parents, like Guhara's mom, will no longer be entitled to inherit their children's estate. And they name it the Guhara Act.
Alright, let's continue digging. There's one thing in the back of my mind that I am very dramatized about. Yeah, it's a real word, guys, I made up just now. Oh, look. Okay, that's not the definition I need. Oh, look. It's going down. When I say dramatized, I'm like accumulating this sort of pain inside me that is not being discussed very much, by the way. Dramatized for me feels like it's gonna become drama, right? And now it potentially is. You look at all these industries being built, everything was built so fast. And yet, they still struggle to pay rent? What is going on? What is capitalism at this point? Are these people being exploited? Is Samsung a religion right now? Like, what's going on? I still haven't experienced elevation above 11 floors, my friends. Maybe I just mainly experienced, like, floor 7. And I was inside a 11-floor building. But that's it. This still blows my mind that this shit exists. Some of it makes me feel like just like women. There's a lot of non-existence in capitalism. A lot of stuff is like fake somehow. Or just like Mr. Beast, it is soulless. It doesn't actually exist because it doesn't have a soul. This actually makes sense. This could be the biggest drama. The soulless creatures. And there's potentially more soulless creatures in South Korea than ever anywhere else. Why? Why? Because North Korea exists. We see the contrast, you know, of what it's like to just chill and just do your thing as if nothing changed, as if you just like making slow progress. And we see the difference of like making extremely rapid progress to the point of like pure desperation, it seems, or some kind of capitalistic brainwashing. Should we really just accept that South Korea is better and North Korea is significantly worse? But people want to escape from this place into South Korea. But there's so much unethical stuff is happening in North Korea, guys. This is not just a war between two countries. This is a war that makes you think of what choice should actually be taken. Because, guys, it doesn't matter who has all them buildings. They own those buildings. They own the buildings. You cannot have any of that. You have to pay rent. You have to slave. No matter how beautiful capitalism is, someone fucking owns it. And that's why it's soulless. Another idea I have is North Korea started opening up its borders a little bit, right? Just like South Korea, kind of. But North Korea is finding tolerance to capitalism, something that they are scared of greatly. They don't want capitalism to interfere with their culture too much. They potentially recognize that in the face of capitalism and ownership, they have to grow much slower than is actually expected. I'm just saying, maybe this guy is not so evil after all. Hmm? Well, he did attack Ukraine. That kind of pisses me off. So yeah, to me, Samsung being religion, that is scary. That is something. Something that people are vocalizing so often about South Korean culture. All the paths lead to just this one word. It's like Fight Club as well. Fight Club was a movie based on fighting capitalism. The things you own end up owning you. Oh, this wood is tasty, is the last words that come out of a person's mouth until they lose their soul. Because food fucking costs money. Even food in capitalism is fairly expensive. And to earn food, you have to sacrifice your soul. This is where it turns into a deadly machine. And now, maybe you can tell, we just laid a nice foundation for what K-pop is. It's a visible work that we get to see. We get to interact from the other side of the world and see that there's a lot more work here than America has produced. And Korea produced this just like that. In fact, Korea is not even losing its population. Korea is already set, this bulge for themselves. So it's not a big deal for them to lose population, to decline into North Korea's numbers. That's nothing, bro. Maybe aging population is a problem, but it's something that you can adapt to. Like, how bad could it be? It's not like old people are big time consumers. Like, it makes no sense to me. They're just not gonna work very hard, but at the same time, anyone can afford giving them fucking bread. Some basic necessities. And I would even suggest that there's gonna be good breakthroughs coming out when the population is kind of in this crossfire. One problem that they could cause unto themselves is allow migration, open themselves as like a vortex, which they're kind of doing, To me, that's the scariest thing because Asian cultures are not compatible with any other culture. Like, I don't see it being compatible at all. They're so highly sophisticated that there's no outsider that can actually keep up with culture like this. That's crazy to me. South Korea can only ruin itself if it opens its borders. But again, this baby boomer thing is also another aspect of capitalism, an aspect of inflation, an aspect of boomers owning a bunch of things. Yeah, it's gonna be very weird to readmit that everything stems from Sniper Wolf drama. Sniper drama splits into Skibidi drama and then Hightail drama. Hightail drama was also a capitalism problem. Capitalism failed to produce the next generation of Minecraft. It almost doesn't know how to do it. The wheels were chirping, the hamsters were running, everyone got paid, but nobody did Hightail. It's never got released. Fundamentally, that's what soulless capitalism is. It looks like it's making progress, but it never finishes the actual product. It fails in the end. It's all hype and no results. It's all tall buildings and no functionality or usefulness for a regular person. It's just a tall building. It's kind of fucking hellscape if you think about it. Like, I've been a part of a Discord server of just people waiting for Hytale to come out. But the funny thing is, it never did. These people were doomed to lose their souls just because they're hyped for the better thing, for the next sequel of their favorite thing, right? And it's almost impossible to disperse a lie like this because people know that everything is only getting better, not worse. But when the FPS dropped and Unreal Engine does not feel good enough anymore and is ruining games, now there's even more capitalism problems. We're not progressing anymore. Something is going horribly wrong, not to mention the greeds of the owners. The owners become greedy and they have less and less to offer because we also become complacent and unskilled or suddenly owned and bought over by others. Like Minecraft itself has been purchased. Capitalism is always clawing its way and changing the world in such radical ways that have never been fully tested. These are all experiments. And again, that's why North Korea exists. It doesn't really like to be experimented on. It doesn't like to just give away its powers. While South Korea is made out of people who think they can stand up to the challenge of whatever capitalism is going to do to them, whatever religion capitalism is going to inject into them, South Korea thinks that they will be able to successfully survive this monster religion. So half of the Korea took the bait of capitalism, and half of the Korea is just gonna remain as a conservative place, right? Just in case something bad happens. Almost giving us a reflection of capitalism as war. Just like I've said, it is war. It's war for every individual. Every individual is trying to succeed, and it turns into absolute chaos. It turns into a hill of ants. Everyone is trying to climb the hill of ants as best as they can. And as long as you do it properly, it is a natural thing that happens from age, you know? If we're all doing something, we're gonna get better at it. By all means. I want a whole... What? What's going on?
In the entertainment.
I can tell you where I am right now on this Kpop drama. Every piece of information counts and adds to the storyline. It's the mystery that's dragging me in like gravity. And the story will tell itself. Does this count? I think it counts. Okay, I'll give you this. It wasn't just Sniper Wolf, but Mr. Beast was also cooking. And if you ever wanted capitalism, this guy is Mr. Capitalism. This guy has its own path, basically. And I think that makes it a lot more cleaner. And also a little bit more mysterious, since we know what we're doing here, right? We're kind of decoding capitalism. But what's the point? What's the end game? What are the soulless creatures going to be doing? What are the soulless buildings going to be doing in the end of the day? Are humans going into extinction period? Is the zombie apocalypse going to be upon us after all of this? See, people can put on suit and tie and explain all the facts that some countries are going through a rough patch, but we actually have no idea when it's gonna end and how it's gonna fucking play out. I feel things are gonna get a lot worse than people imagine. Again, I'm telling you, this drama is building up. This feeling of overpopulated worlds that makes no sense anymore. When I talk about overpopulation, I'm talking about there's too many evil people who are completely unchallenged in this world. The good people have to mingle with the evil people simply because we're in a tight space. If there's a lot of empty space, then a good person can at least separate himself from an evil person and escape this sort of like a draining experience. And an evil person is potentially gonna have a hard time surviving or even finding motivation to live. Who knows? But we see more good people dying. Like Charlie Kirk is a death of a good person. And it's simply because he had to work around a bunch of evil people. He was in a space with a bunch of evil people. That's just how it works. Most people, especially me, are suffocating from overpopulation. Not only that, K-pop is a simulation of overpopulation, because you have to first have a significant career, and only then can you go solo. The funny thing is, it's not exactly unreasonable style of career. Every Disney person went through a sitcom first to become a singer, a solo person. They just technically did it at a much younger age, I guess. So unfortunately, this piece that it's K-pop groups of girls, and only after a group is successful they can go solo. That's just natural selection. I think we laid out the basics, nothing too crazy, in the previous videos, right? But at the same time, I was picking up on these like weird capitalistic connotations. Now it seems like it's completely unavoidable. This is the drama. It's face to face with capitalism, bro. In that sense, I never stopped talking about K-pop drama, even though you see a 6-month gap. I never stopped talking about it because I kept talking about capitalism and the way it actually is bending the world. I think the scariest thing about capitalism is, from my understanding, Squid Game is a parody of Mr. Beast. Squid Games is like you have to win to survive. And if you don't get much money under capitalism, if you don't achieve grand success, do you even get to live a life? Is the question. It's kind of like a risk that you are taking. You're going to be living a lonely life, but in exchange, you have a chance to get a lot of money. In exchange, you get to chase the potential of success, right? And I don't know how consensual this is. It does seem like you can just live a normal life. See, another representation of K-pop is that you have to be exceptional to be successful. You're taking a big risk if you're trying to do this career. You place your bet on your esteem. It's no longer about a career ladder and having a family. It's about actually achieving success or failing to do so. But I don't want to be negative, so let's say you just have to break through layers of success, where the greatest success is the most ultimate achievement for anyone. Right? Just like Mr. Beast breaking through into becoming the most subscribed person, he's technically safe. But there's still a question of his soul trying to, survive. It feels there's a little branch in Mr. Beast's drama right now where he got rage baited into the most obvious comment of he has no soul. Like, a person made this comment and Mr. Beast was contacting with lawyers and all this crap. And personally contacting. Like that was crazy. Mr. Beast does become slowly a soulless creature who's creating this hush-hush money paradigm. Because it's a lot easier when you just give money to a person and you successfully enslave him to do whatever. Is what it is. And I'm starting to keep an eye on this bad boy. Because there's a lot of information kind of leaking out of his strategy of manipulating people. Whatever Dogpack has been digging out, it's not completely shallow waters. Capitalism is a dangerous ideology, enslaving humanity for the sake of profits, for the sake of a chance to own something. But if the only thing you're buying is food, it's not gonna feel sustainable. But I tell you this is a game, and the goal of the game is to survive. And unfortunately, it's not more than that. If you can build a family, then technically you build a solid survival unit. That still means you have to survive just a little bit harder. You're kind of flexing your survival abilities if you have a family. And no, I didn't take the diva path. I didn't take the path of embarking on my talent ship or whatever. I have much bigger things to do. Alright, guys? My breakthroughs will come in a form of groundbreaking discoveries. Something that literally cannot be forgotten. Like, it's gonna make history. The only question is, like, how many people will dare to discover me? If I figure out how to make YouTube Rewind, that's a groundbreaking discovery. How to make it popular, right? But it might become controversial. Who knows? I don't know. I just have to do what I do and not think about what could possibly go wrong. That's not important for me. It would go a lot better if people at least talked about it. So that's my actual goal. So yeah, Mr. Beast is kind of like doomed to repeat the cycle of capitalism simulation of just ants climbing a hill, and some of them succeed and some of them don't. But those who don't succeed usually get very, very little, very few scraps. Only those who succeed get to grab 500,000 or whatever. Alright, let's continue digging. All of my videos are 1 hour long. Don't worry about it. I will find enough material that is necessary to move forward. To me, in the end, like, Asian culture is very beautiful and well crafted, and this, like, survival needs to be, like, respected, and there could be mutual respect. It could also help me travel and understand what capitalism actually is. Like, show true colors of capitalism, which would change my mind on a few things, right? Maybe improve some of my principles that I have hanging. Maybe I would learn how to interact with other people. You don't know what you're going to get out of drama, but that's the whole point of drama, is to learn a lot without the need to restart the story of what's going on. Learning all the new characters, all the new cultures, piecing everything together. There's no need for that. We're going forward, right?
At some point, the members didn't have any money for transportation or meals, having to share a serving of food among the 4 of them. They were so broke that they had no money to spend on any outside activities and couldn't even afford to sit at a cafe. The situation.
That's the dark side of capitalism, of sudden lack of ownership, right? The bright side of capitalism is that you can always be saved by welfare. Ooh, woo. But then there's the dark side of capitalism where pensions always get delayed by the amount of time that you grow old. So if you 35 and the pension can be achieved at 65, the moment you become 65, your pension is going to be at 95 years, unfortunately. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, my friend. Absolutely, the future is going to be different. It's not going to be capitalism, it's going to be more kind, more giving. What's going on is not exactly the best way humanity can operate, but it sure looks pretty, doesn't it?
Nobody had the luxury to think about what would come after. If Marionette was successful, they would continue promoting as a group. If it failed, they would disband.
That's what I wanted, guys. I wanted to type in Marionette and get exact same words describing that girls in K-pop had to spice it up. That is the craziest thing. And then they released the Marionette of like, well, we have to do it. We have to try this. You know? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that the most obvious storyline of women spicing themselves up for money? Mind you, in South Korea, there's no allowance to porn. So, this is the industry. This is the only thing you can do, and it's the most obvious move. And if they became successful afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised, because that's just something you have to do.
And the group was heavily criticized for changing their concept. As the saying goes, though, bad marketing is marketing, and Marionette became their top-selling single.
Well, it is what it is. You have to gravitate towards a solution and not worry about the sacrifices.
Lyrics talk about how they were willing to experiment with an image that they weren't entirely comfortable with, and how the public ignored them until they started doing more mature concepts.
Man, this is the storyline. This is something that has to be told, doesn't it? Specifically, I want like a mystery. I want to tickle my fancies, with some kind of logical mystery. But there is this old thing of like, yes, you need controversy. You need to do something else than you actually are. You need to become one of these guys. All right? The weirdos that create controversy for the sake of attention is pretty obvious, right? But the striking word is experimentation. As you can tell, that's a very interesting word I already used. Capitalism is filled with experiments. Capitalism is filled with courageous people doing weird shit. This takes some courage, I'm not gonna lie.
Remained unchanged. The outfits were too much. Ga Young recalled, "They seemed to agree and told us to change, but those photos were released."
Yeah. Not only it's difficult in K-pop, but it just never stops. Especially if you are constantly sinking, if you're not getting the amount of exposure you need to satisfy your masters. Again, this is a very unique thing to capitalism. The soullessness of everything. The ads, my friends. This is just something I bumped into just playing a fucking game, but it hits so much harder. It hits so much harder this particular time. You can feel the greed of the other person, really wanting money, really selling their soul for just a bit more ownership of whatever, right?
According to a fan statement, during Stellar's time in Japan, the girls started crying multiple times during their performances. The fan said that
it is very weird in capitalism when we are supplying a bunch of crazy shit. We don't know what works because there is no demand. It's just like we throw a bunch of shit and hoping that something sticks, basically. We're actually not communicating with customers at all. But the moment we try to talk to customers, we will realize that it's better to just force a certain type of behavior. It's not necessary to actually give what people want. You can just change their mind. I'm telling you, just because of AI and all the changes happening, capitalism will go away. There's no way it's gonna stay much longer. So far, I see K-pop drama as just a good revelation, a good playbook of how to reveal capitalism's schemes and how people play into capitalism as best as they can, right? Because in Asia, they know to play by the rules as best as they can, whatever the rules are set. Right? This is why North Korea exists, because rules of capitalism are pretty horrible, right? These are horrible conditions where in the end of the day, you don't feel like you own anything if you don't own anything, you know? You can't lose capitalism. Capitalism is by all means not equality, not relationships. It's individuality of playing by the rules. I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly people go back to North Korea, dude. Or open up a bridge where they can freely move. But it's too late for that.
Asked for help
They had even money for food. Like, imagine saying that.
on live
guys.
television. When they channel, Ga-young shared that over their 7-year run as a group, each member received only $9,000. Let's just hope that we never hear stories.
Not only there is a supply and demand scheme, but someone can hijack it. Someone can just steal money from you, as always. In other words, not only there's a demand problem because we don't know what people demand, you never know how much you're worth in general, right? So people can just steal your money. If they owe you something, they can just like, I owe you 50% less, actually. Capitalism is a perfect system, but capitalism does not work in not perfect conditions, with not perfect players. Capitalism is a fucking wet dream. That it can erect huge buildings, right? But they mean nothing. I mean, in my country, you tend to see old buildings, the decrepit buildings versus these large ones, or corporations being large ones. And it's definitely inequality right there on top of your nose, which makes no sense. Like, a business should not only build itself, but care about the fucking neighborhood. They should pitch in. The funny thing is, businesses are thinking fucking one-dimensional, but there's area around them that they can also market. They could also magnetize the area, and then more people will flock in, because not only these people are building up their reputation of providing to the neighborhood, but they also make the neighborhood more attractive for anyone else. The funny thing is, again, capitalism is a perfect system, but imperfect players make it look miserable, dude. Miserable. If you played capitalism perfectly, like, you can do crazy good things to the world. Everyone can become Mr. Beast providing to Africa. But essentially realizing that they have to provide to even more people, even more locally, right? Be even nicer. And investigate problems and how they can help, like all that shit. That's also part of capitalism. I'm willing to give money to people who solve my problems. It's pretty fucking obvious. But in the end, capitalism stopped listening to me. My advice doesn't mean anything. My storytelling of K-pop drama doesn't mean anything. It's just there, you know, as a footprint of people failing miserably and having to move on to the next thing because oopsie doopsie. You know, I'm not supposed to like capitalism personally, and I don't, because the reality of it is pretty grim. But the fantasy of it, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. You earn money and achieve your dreams, and nobody stabs you in the fucking face. Ever. Nobody betrays you. If that would be the case, yeah, it's all good. So did we figure out where Korea is going? I mean, we know what they care about. There's also this. This showed up exactly on point with K-pop drama. Has to be mentioned by all means. However, I did not watch the movie yet. Nor do I really have to. It seems very straightforward. But you know what? I am tempted to do more research.
And then you die and go
Okay, we're just learning Korean language at this
to
point.
Seoseung. We have the 3 vertical Samsung Galaxy eyes like that on one side. So one fun fact
Aw, Samsung hijacked the movie a little
about
bit.
magpies there, which is also
Okay, I'm not interested in this language learning thing, unfortunately. There seems to be a wonderful breakdown.
That lady who called ICE on those South Koreans at the Hyundai
Of
plant
the
in
news.
Georgia, South Korea responded. Yeah, y'all remember this lady who claimed to call ICE because the union workers couldn't get jobs. They weren't allowing Americans to get jobs. But really, it was just South Koreans bringing over people to build
Well, typical Karen behavior, but you can't blame people for being stupid,
this
unfortunately.
Hyundai plant in order to set it up and get Americans to come and learn how to set up these Hyundai parts. Yeah, she's made a fool of herself. Over $300 billion was invested to bring South Koreans over, build up this Hyundai plant so that they can open up jobs to Americans to come in and learn from these South Koreans in order to build jobs, manufacturing, and all that for Americans. And she called ICE and got them detained and shackled. South Korea had to come and tell our government to unshackle their workers, who, mind you, again, they were on visas. They had work visas to be over here. South Korea told America, unshackle them. We're sending a charter plane. I know they like to say, oh, we sent the charter plane to bring them back to South Korea. No, South Korea sent that charter plane, not America. This is why I say racism is it's just so, you can't do nothing but laugh at racism. Because this lady, I think her name is like Tori Bonyuni or something like that, Burnuni. This lady has nothing tied to this Georgia plant. Nothing tied to the car industry. Nothing tied to any manufacturing industry ever. So my question is, and it's always the case, I swear to you, this is always the case when stuff like this happens. It's always by somebody that has no ties to any type of job. Their job isn't even related to the manufacturing. So why do you care? Why did she?
One more, guys.
In Korea, getting approached by guys happens so often it's practically a national sport. It almost feels like Korean men are addicted to hitting on women. Every time they see someone they like, they feel the need to make a move. And their pickup lines? Almost always the same. They typically start with something like, "Hi, I've been noticing you for a while, can I have your number?" Or, "Hi, this is my first time doing something like this, but you're really my type." Because of
Yeah, I'm thinking you're not supposed to do pickup lines. You should just ask for someone's name and say that you like them. Yeah, I don't believe this. What the hell? Is that a bad thing? It's cultural thing, you know? Look, what? What do you mean flirting? It's talking about pickup culture, bro. What the fuck? I think pickup lines, again, too cheesy. You just ask for name, you say that you like them, and go from there. Whatever comes out of your mouth is a pickup line afterwards, because you rather be dynamic, you rather be prepared for the rest of the conversations rather than the opening line. Like, it means nothing. So make it as generic as possible and not cheesy.
Because of this, I now have an instinct to run whenever I see an overly confident Korean guy. And don't expect the kind of romantic approaches you see in K-dramas. Far from it. Their strategy is more
The real question is your fertility rates. That's the big
like
question.
casting a
isn't it?
wide net, and rejection only fuels their persistence. Many girls
But again, it just shows that the storyline is not South Korea. The storyline is South Korea following capitalism rules to every dotted line, bro. These stuff happens everywhere. I mean, yeah, in different ways it does happen everywhere. But this is definitely more pronounced. This is definitely like more of a cultural thing. This is how it's done, right? It's done in a very straightforward way. And you never know when people are actually encouraged that this is the only way you can actually find anyone, just bumping into people. And then you can have girlfriend, yay. We have seen K-pop dancers trying to become spicy in order to get money. What we see here is, again, another surge. Another desperate search to find something. Capitalism is full of that shit. It's the game of search and find. Wow, hide and seek. In normal circumstances, if you're approached, you have to be genuine with the other person. You have to be nice. You cannot give a stone cold slap rejection. Leave me alone, please. Someone comes up to you and you give them a job interview, you know? Are you gonna be a good husband? You always have to give hope to people because that's not something you want to kill. There's no reason to kill hope. Although women don't exist, so what are we talking about? Am I right?
End up giving a random number, but Korean guys have adapted too. They'll call the number on the spot to verify it before letting you go. So why are Korean men so into hitting on women? First, young people in Korea deal with a lot of stress. They earn a
This is technically the way you do it in capitalism. You hit on women. You use courage. Like, this is the fucking rule. When I said people are following rules to the dot, to the line, this is the rule. There's nothing else you can do. You have to invade someone's privacy. That's it. It's game over. Now, how you do it is depending on your skill level. But what you have to do gets pretty obvious pretty quickly in South Korea, I imagine. Like, people crack the codes. That's the important thing. They crack
even
it.
more, with many living paycheck to paycheck. Rather,
So you can imagine, like, North Koreans also cracking codes. Like, North Koreans are known to be hackers, right? They hack into the cryptos. They want those juicy numbers, you know? North Koreans, best crypto hackers, if you haven't noticed. That means a lot. That they still participate in capitalism. They still dupe people of like, your capitalism isn't perfect. And North Korea, like, finds these imperfections, doesn't it? To take advantage. I need a story about North Korean hackers. I'm not sure if I put it previously, but we'll
than investing time and effort into getting to know someone, their dating mindset is often, just start dating first, and if it doesn't work out, break up. Approaching strangers is simply the fastest way to meet new people.
Yeah, it's very simple, very easy going, right?
After a while, they don't even remember who they've hit on before. Some even see it as a way to build confidence or get a sense of accomplishment. Doing this might just be a way to fill their inner void. What do you think? In Korea, getting approached...
Inner void? Come on, like... Well, technically, you never know how deep the inner void of pickup culture is. Let's get those hackers. Alright, let's go.
North Korea just stole $1.5 billion of cryptocurrency in the largest crypto heist in history. Wait, North Korea? This hermit kingdom that looks like it's like stuck in the 50s? How did they do this? Well, the target was Bybit.
Because they really hate capitalism.
This crypto trading platform, which holds billions of dollars worth of its customers' assets in a reserve. They routinely transfer some of this money from their
but in a vigilante way of like, you guys using an imperfect system, unfortunately, and you're trying to even escape capitalism by using digital currency, which can be hacked, you know, from anywhere in the world.
Hi, I'm the Digital Empress and I'm an ethical hacker, and tonight we're going to talk about one of the most notorious hacking groups and see if your digital life is in danger. Let's start with this guy, Park Chin-hook. I hope I said that right. He and his group...
Well, watch this rather than Harris, because you should be watching Harris anyways, you know?
Lazarus are responsible for some of the biggest cyber attacks that you guys probably know about. Let's talk about them. My PlayStation fans might remember this one that happened in 2014. The Sony Pictures hack. This was actually fueled by a controversial movie that came out, The Interview, and they ended up crippling the company's network and leaking sensitive data. The next one that happened was the Bangladesh bank heist that happened in 2016. They stole $81 million, and they did this by exploiting the SWIFT banking systems. I'm sure all of my cybersecurity professionals remember this one. This is the WannaCry hack that happened in 2017. It was a ransomware worm that essentially made a lot of us wanna cry. So yeah, the Lazarus group, yeah, they're still running out in these streets, messing stuff up, using spear phishing, malware, supply chain attacks, and a lot of their hacking is funded by the money that they steal from said cybercrimes. All right, so now that we know about Lazarus and how they're still going after Fortune 500s and multi-million-dollar banks, do you think that your business is next? If you don't know the answer to this, that's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Buy my services, am I right? So we're talking top-tier hackers, US, Russia, North Korea, and China is on this guy's list. And we're talking about a tiny country entering, you know, the hacker list. The Olympic Games of hackers, bro. Like, how did that happen? So, not so funny, is it? But where do we go? I'll just finish up by listening to this garbage. Although I kind of don't want to. Maybe just KDA is gonna give us something.
KDA, we show them how we do it every day.
Okay.
Let's get it.
This is the most capitalistic thing I've ever seen.
Kali don't stop, Kali don't skirt, Kali got a job, Kali go to work. All of my numbers are talking back. Buruma messes monopoly.
Yeah, they try to make it cool, playing Monopoly. Again, for 4 episodes, I didn't know what I was chasing after, but now we're kind of starting to see something, isn't it? Now, even though capitalism will perish, it's still gonna just bend over to the new religion, right? Meaning that it's still gonna linger as something people can do. It's just not gonna be successful. This is interesting. This could be a principle for sure. Damn. You can potentially feel that South Korean culture is ingraining all these capitalistic principles like crazy. Wow, this is a different life entirely. Bro is changing my brain DNA, bro.